She traded my business secrets for lust. I made her infidelity publicly permanent. People always ask me the same question. If you knew your wife was cheating, why didn't you confront her immediately? I usually smile, because confronting someone gives them a chance to lie. Watching them destroy themselves, that's far more educational. My name is Ethan Carter, and for almost 11 years, I built my cybersecurity company from a folding table in a one-bedroom apartment into a business worth almost $20 million. Every contract, every late night, every sacrifice, it all meant something because I thought I was building a future for the two of us. For me, and for my wife, Claire. We met before any of the money existed, before investors, before conferences, before the expensive house and the black sports car sitting in our driveway. She used to joke that she fell in love with me because I looked like a tired college professor with impossible dreams. I believed her. Maybe that's why I never questioned the little things. The late-night marketing meetings, the sudden obsession with expensive dresses, the new phone she insisted was just for work. Looking back, the signs weren't hidden. I was just too busy believing in us. 3 months ago, I landed the biggest contract of my career, a government-backed infrastructure project. If we secured it, my company would become one of the top cybersecurity firms in the country. The proposal contained proprietary algorithms, custom encryption architecture, and years of research that only 3 people in the world had complete access to. Me, my senior engineer, and Claire. You see, Claire wasn't just my wife. She was my business partner. She managed investor relations and strategic communications. I trusted her with everything. That's always the funny part of betrayal. The knife only gets close enough because you handed it to them yourself. The first crack appeared on a Tuesday. I came home earlier than usual after a client canceled a meeting. Claire was in the kitchen, typing furiously on her laptop. The moment she heard the front door open, she slammed the screen shut so fast she nearly spilled her coffee. "Oh, you're home early," she said, forcing a smile. I apologized for startling her. She laughed. I laughed. We kissed. And for about 5 seconds, I believed nothing was wrong. Then her second phone vibrated. She froze. I noticed. She noticed that I noticed. "It's just work," she said quickly, picking it up and walking into the other room. I didn't follow her. I didn't ask questions. Instead, I walked over to the kitchen counter where she'd left her laptop. It was locked. But reflected in the black screen, I saw something odd. A name written across a sticky note attached to her desk. Victor Hale, Thursday. Confirm transfer. Victor Hale. The name hit me like a brick. He wasn't just anyone. Victor was the CEO of Arcturus Dynamics, our biggest competitor. Now, maybe there's an innocent explanation for your wife secretly meeting the head of your rival company. Maybe. But in cybersecurity, you learn to trust patterns, not excuses. So I did what I do best. I investigated. The next morning, I quietly activated a dormant forensic monitoring protocol I developed years ago. It was designed to protect intellectual property if sensitive files were ever copied outside the company network. Normally, it simply logged activity. But this version was different. Every confidential document contained an invisible encrypted marker, a digital fingerprint that embedded itself into every copy, screenshot, archive, and email attachment. The marker couldn't be deleted without destroying the file itself. And if anyone outside the approved network opened the document, the system would quietly report exactly where it had gone. I built it to stop corporate espionage. I never imagined I'd be using it against my own wife. 2 nights later, Claire kissed me goodbye and said she was meeting investors downtown. I told her to have fun. Then I waited exactly 10 minutes. I grabbed my keys and followed her. The investors never showed up. Instead, Claire parked outside a luxury hotel.
I watched from across the street as she stepped out of her car, checked her phone, and smiled. Then a man walked toward her. Tall, confident, expensive suit. Victor Hale. She ran to him. Not like a colleague, not like a business acquaintance. She wrapped her arms around his neck and kissed him. A long kiss. The kind that tells you this wasn't the first time. It's strange. People think discovering an affair feels like getting hit by a truck. It doesn't. It feels quiet, like the world suddenly mutes itself.
The traffic disappears. The city lights blur. Your heartbeat slows down. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a tiny voice whispers, "So this is who they really are." I sat there for almost 20 minutes, watching them laugh together, watching the woman I loved hold another man's hand. Then I saw something that hurt even more. Victor handed her a silver flash drive. Claire slipped it into her purse. And she nodded. Not once. Twice. Like they had rehearsed the plan. I didn't cry. I didn't storm into the hotel. I didn't call her. Instead, I drove back to the office. At 11:43 p.m., my forensic alert system triggered. One external storage device had been connected to Claire's executive workstation. 7 restricted project folders were accessed. 6 were copied. 143 confidential files transferred. Destination, unknown. Estimated value of intellectual property stolen, roughly 12 years of my life. That was the moment I stopped thinking of Claire as my wife. She had become a hostile actor. And hostile actors don't deserve emotional reactions. They deserve consequences. The next morning, I walked into the office exactly as usual. I made coffee. I greeted the staff. I even kissed Claire on the cheek. She smiled at me with those same eyes I'd trusted for over a decade. "Everything okay?" she asked. I looked directly at her, and I smiled back. Never been better. Because what she didn't know was that the files she'd stolen weren't the originals. 2 weeks earlier, after noticing a series of unusual access attempts, I'd quietly migrated the real project architecture into an isolated, offline environment. The files she'd copied were decoys, perfect copies, except for one tiny difference. Buried deep inside the code and hidden metadata was a forensic payload. The moment Victor or anyone at Arcturus tried to integrate or demonstrate the stolen technology, every embedded marker would activate simultaneously. An automated compliance report would be generated. Digital signatures would prove exactly where the files originated. Access logs would identify every user who touched them. And encrypted backup records, already stored with 3 independent legal firms, would automatically unlock. In other words, the instant they tried to profit from stealing my work, they would announce their crime to the entire industry. Claire thought she was trading my company's future for a passionate affair. She had no idea she was carrying a time bomb in her purse, and I had absolutely no intention of warning her. Because some betrayals deserve forgiveness, but when someone sells your heart, your life's work, and your future, the only fair response is to make sure the whole world remembers exactly what they did. And trust me, by the time I was finished, no one would ever forget Claire Hale. Not because of who she cheated with, but because I was about to make her infidelity publicly permanent.